Come with me.
And once again, we are back. We are here with the one and the only. Real name Isaac Die, aka Tragedy, aka The Prophet, aka Malik Williams. How are you doing today, sir?
Feeling great. It's a lovely day. Ain't not much going on. Just chilling.
Chilling.
Mm-hmm.
We are here to talk about your album that is dropping when? Tomorrow. And what is the title of the album?
A Tragic Story. It's called A Tragic Story. Yep.
A tragic story. How many songs is on the album?
9 on the full length of the album. So what's releasing tomorrow is side A. That'll be 4 songs. Side B will have another 4, and once I release the full album, there'll be the bonus track on it.
Okay. Sounds good. Any features?
You.
Me.
It's about the only feature.
The one, the only.
J-Dot.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that guy there. Anywho. All right. I guess we're just going to dive right into it.
Yes, sir.
Nice little interview of sorts. So how long did it take you to write these songs?
So basically, most of the songs on the album, right, I wrote them in high school. And from the time period of high school up until now, the majority of the songs have gone through like different revisions. So as I've like experienced more in life, as far as relationships, as far as just my spiritual walk, as I kind of matured along the course of my journey in life, I revised each song accordingly. So I would say probably a good 50%, a little more than 50% of the songs that are on the album currently were written probably from the time that I was in high school up until like the end of my college career. So most of the songs took about that long to really perfect and get down to where I actually felt like they were worthy to be released. So I would say from the time I was 18 to 24, how many years is that? 6 years, right? So basically the majority of the songs took 6 years to complete. Some of them, I believe only like a few of the songs were written around the age of 23. So recently, I just turned 24, so yeah. So most of I would say in total the album took like 6 years.
So a mixture of just time periods.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. So that's a whole lot of experience from 18 to 24.
Yeah.
That's 6 years of experience.
That's a lot of revising. When I say these songs,
revising.
they started off on like I would say if I had to put it in terms of like school, like an elementary like state of mind, basically,
Right.
to the point where I matured to where I am now, both spiritually and naturally. So yeah, you see like different elements of you can actually see the elements of my maturity if you really pay attention to the lyrics of what's being said between songs that's at the start of the album, to the end of the album. So
we'll be able to tell the
progression,
the progression and stuff like that. That's cool. That's a nice little way to put it. And how long did it take you to record the song?
To record the songs, a lot less time. The songs are already written. I've had these songs tucked for like a long time. So the recording process was a lot easier because one, I've had more experience recording up until that point of actually working with you in the studio.
Right.
So the actual recording process, there were times before where I would take 100 takes just to get a verse right.
Tell me about it.
The actual recording process this time around was a lot shorter because the combined experience of mine and your own experiences, having been making songs for a while now, even if that has just been like a small output, the work that went into doing this album and putting it together didn't take as much time as previous attempts to start my career.
And then get more comfortable
Yeah.
as far as just being in the studio, rapping, hearing your voice.
Yeah, I'm
and
like,
the progression of
I'm
it.
kind of, as far as rapping is concerned, yes, I don't really have an issue going in the booth, finding my rhythm and executing.
Right.
Of course, with singing, even though those elements are on the album now, The singing aspect, my vocal ability, I haven't really perfected that aspect yet. So um, while there are signs of me or moments of me singing on the album, the majority is rapping. But at some point, I want to get just as uh, not fluent as if like it's not really a language. I mean, it is a language,
Right,
but
right,
know, I want to be a little more confident and more
Comfortable.
with singing just as I do with rapping.
So, what made you choose this particular album title, and what is the underlying theme and tone of the project?
All right, so for a long time, I couldn't write a song unless I was in pain. Even if the song was, um, lighthearted or happy, it came from a place of that lightheartedness and happiness. I wanted that to be my reality. So instead of actually saying something that reflected my reality, I would make a song that was happy because that's what I wanted. So
Okay.
when it comes to making music for a long time, I wrote from a place of pain. I still do, but now I have an understanding of the meaning of what I went through. So basically, a tragic story. I chose the name tragedy because that's how I define myself. I normally define myself through the pain that I've been through, and me being unable to um, vocalize my pain in a way that is a little more vulnerable. Like the rapping helps me be aggressively vulnerable. If that makes sense. Like I don't have to be too emotional and feel too sensitive. Like I can say it in a way that still kind of has like a little bit of brutality and harshness to it. It's kind of like a defense mechanism for me. So a tragic story, I base my life around the tragedy I experienced and how I adapted to these different situations or circumstances. So I'm telling my story, and to me, it's a tragedy. I'm really a fan of Shakespeare, so I like Shakespearean tragedies.
Right.
So I kind of followed that same pattern. And me being a lyricist and putting a lot of emphasis on what I'm saying, um, if you read Shakespeare, if you're into those stories, he really takes time to detail the thoughts of his characters and how they progress throughout the basically throughout the story, how they start, what their state of mind and state of being is, and how that progresses as they face different internal and external crises. So that's basically what this album is. The underlying theme is um, tragedy, really, just hardship, sorrow, stages of grief, uh, reflection, introspection, retrospective aspects to the album. So it's really just my life from the lens of the stages of maturity that I was going through at the time. So you'll see me at spiritual highs, spiritual lows. Majority of the spiritual lows. I'm just getting to a point where I'm reaching a high. You'll see anger, love, uh, just every single emotion you can think of, you can find on this album.
That's real good. That's real good. I'm already looking forward to listening to this
Yes,
album.
sir.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people will relate to it as far as people walking on their walk with Christ and everything like
Yeah.
that. Their spiritual highs, spiritual lows, and even people who aren't on that side, just experiencing the same thing, going through pain and all that. It's sounding pretty good. So, describe your creative process and what inspires you to write.
Um, to be honest, when it comes to my creative process, a lot of times words just come to me at random, or I have to get into a mode. For this album in particular, I had to get into a mode where I was thinking about what I experienced in the past. I had to relive those moments and allow myself to express how I felt in that moment, even though that moment has passed.
Okay.
So now that I'm past that, like all this stuff that happened to me happened at a time where I was still spiritually weak. And now I'm starting to gain a little more spiritual strength and natural and intellectual strength as well. So I had to step back into the shoes of the 18-year-old, the 19-year-old, the 20-year-old, the 21, 22, 23.
Go back
Now I'm
and
24.
reminisce.
I had to go back and reminisce on everything that I did. That's how I was able to rework and rewrite a lot of the lyrics to reflect both the past, present, and what I expect my future to be.
That's
So
real good.
that's my creative process. I always look. I've always been. Excuse me, pardon me. I've always been forward thinking and forward looking. even when I was in the situation at the moment, I was always trying to see what it could be, and as well as what it was. So, as for me, my creative process is always giving people a reflection of my reality. I don't want anything to be a lie. I don't want anything to be fake. So even if it is, I would say like a fictional story, it comes from, it stems from something that may have happened to me or somebody associated with me. So I'm always trying to tell a story. My whole creative process is about telling a story. Um, like I wrote my first stories and plays and all that in elementary school. So that gift was given to me from an early age, and I just matured in it to a point where I can express it through lyrics and add melodies and tunes to it. So that's my creative process. Just keeping people in touch with my reality and my fantasy as well. Even if it's something that may seem, unreal or imaginative,
Right.
it comes from a place of a desire for that to be my reality.
That's good. At least it's real. Nowadays,
Yeah,
a lot
you
of
already know
rappers
they just
is
rapping. They just
all
going in there and saying
fabricated.
whatever.
All fabricated.
No fabrications here.
Did you create this album for fans or consumers, or is it just a personal body of work made for your self gratification?
So, of course, I would want potential listeners to be able to relate to the words that I'm saying. But I really wrote this album for me. I set a goal last year to finally complete a full body of work. And after having completed this one, I mean, I feel accomplished, but I still feel like, I think like Tupac, like when he used to write songs, he would write them and then move on to the next one, write and move on to the next one. That's probably why I don't remember a lot of my lyrics, is because I don't dwell on one thing for too long, whether it be good or bad. I'm starting to learn not to dwell on one thing for too long, whether it be good or bad. That's what I should say. Um, I don't like to dwell on things. So even if something is good, I'm always looking to the next thing. So the next album, we're talking about this one,
Right.
is coming like extremely soon, even if it is tucked away, even if I don't release it yet. But back to the question I was asked, I wrote this album for me personally. I wanted to tell a part of my story, and I still have more of my story to tell. And this part of my story gives you an introduction to the other, I would say, aspects of myself that are soon to come, or that I will reveal in the albums that should be coming after this one. So I give you a brief introduction to the three personas I created based on my personal experiences and how I viewed myself and how other people viewed me at the time. So you got tragedy, you got Malik Waves, and you have the prophet. So tragedy is how I define myself. That's just where I come from. That's what I come from. That's who I am. My life has been a tragedy in my eyes and in the eyes of others. But I don't. Now I'm getting to a place where I don't dwell on those tragedies. I use them as life lessons, and I try to learn from them. And then you got Malik Waves. You got Malik Waves is, he talk a lot of trash. He's a helpless romantic. He act like a player. He's trying to live up to the expectations that other people have of him. But at the end of the day, he knows that he can't live his life this way. And the prophet has consumed all the information that he experienced as tragedy and Malik Waves, and he uses it to edify others going through the same situation. So everything about him is speaking the truth and learning from what you've experienced. So I wrote this album. I wrote this album basically having those thoughts in mind, basically thinking about how I wanted to present myself to the people and how I see myself now. It's not just, even though I say it's for me, it's not just for me. Because anything I say, I feel like someone will learn from it.
Okay. Are there any other artists that you look to for guidance as it pertains to your artistry or expressiveness?
Not so much outside of my family. So this guy here, in the interview,
the one,
J.
the
Dot.
only.
I look to my brothers. I am John. Go check him out. Check him out. I am John. J. Dot. Check him out. This guy right here. I look to them for inspiration and guidance because I trust the word of those closest to me before I trust the word of somebody that I may have not learned from directly. Everything I've learned about how to make music and what goes into the actual process, I learned from watching my brothers succeed in making their own songs before me. I was really the last one to really get into my creative space. So my artistry, I take elements of their process and their genius to me, to help me improve my skills and my the quality of my work. But that's not to say that artists who are already established, like mainstream artists, whether underground artists, whatever they are, the ones who are already established, not to say that they aren't great, but those who actually influence me and inspire me come from my same bloodline, which is my brothers.
Nice. So, once the album is released, what are your goals as far as cultivating a relationship with various audiences?
So my thing is to always be able to reach different demographics. So my lyrical content, I feel like will reach the older generation because it's coming from a place of purity and sincerity. It's staying true to the origins of what hip hop and rap was meant to be for not only our people but for the world. I think that aspect of my content is going to draw the older people, but I feel like the younger generation, even though they're still maturing and growing spiritually and naturally, a lot of younger people are starting to have a deeper understanding and knowledge of what it really means to have something worth putting out.
Right.
A lot of people are shying away from nonsense music and nonsense content, period, and they're hungry to hear something that's actually going to be beneficial to them, mind, body, and spirit. So I feel like I have the capacity to reach every audience, and I always want to stay in that lane. I don't always want to put one audience above another because everyone needs to hear what I'm saying.
Right.
And outside of just being that way when it comes to the music, I want to. What I have to do really is get into my social media bag. Like I'm not a social media person.
Right.
I don't really do social media. I don't really care for people to see what's going on in my life.
And you seem so reserved.
But I do need people to see that up because you have to build a following. You have to stay true to the people that you want to reach. If I'm gonna touch people's lives, I have to find innovative ways to continue to reach out to them.
Exactly.
So whether that be doing shows in intimate settings or on a large scale, just going around talking to people, having conversations with them,
Yeah,
and
getting some type of exposure and stuff.
just
like
exposing
that.
them to what I'm trying to do with my music, basically.
Exactly.
So, in any way, shape, or form I could do that, that's the plan. But the next step for me, as of right now, is to perform. Once the album drops, I really want to perform, whether it be in an intimate setting or something where there's like a large crowd. It doesn't matter what it is. I just want the people to hear what I have to say. So whether I start small, pause, or start on a bigger scale, pause.
Yeah.
No Diddy. That doesn't matter. I just think that what's most important is that people hear something that they've never heard before. And what I'm bringing is something that is a variation of something that they have heard before, because the Bible says nothing new under the sun.
Exactly.
So I'm just bringing back what seems to be lost right now in the music business, period, not even just rapping. I think people are getting too focused into, surface level
Right.
content. There's a deeper level and a higher level you can go to if you actually put in the time and effort. So, and I'm putting in that time and that effort. So, I feel like I'll be successful in reaching anybody I want to reach with my music. Because if you listen to it, the minute you listen to it, you're gonna know that it's not something that you're used to.
Nice. Well, I think that's all I have for you today.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait to hear the album. Pretty sure it's gonna be great. Pretty sure everyone will love it.
April 4th.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yes, sir. That's
it.
a wrap.